We went armed with an 80 quid budget. Did we spend it? Absolutely yes we did, but not quite in the way you'd normally see me do it. So the Irish gaming market has just had its winter edition. Now, you know I always look forward to these events and really enjoy them. This time we kind of struggled to get a bit of time off work, but managed to squeeze out for a few hours. Now, we normally tend to come away from the Irish gaming market with like a pile of games, a really nice mix of stuff, but it was kind of a little bit more focused this time. I'm trying to sort of refine the SNES card collection. I'm really trying to get like mostly stuff that I had as a kid or would have had a lend of or would have rented. That's the stuff that I'm really nostalgic for at the moment. So we went armed with an 80 quid budget. Did we spend it? Absolutely yes we did, but as I said, not quite in the way you'd normally see me do it. Now, that's not to say we're not going to have a good look around the market and have a look at everything that's on offer. That's just what I'm kind of hunting for myself in particular this time. I was also conscious of the fact that I had to meet someone to collect a fairly bulky item here, and I didn't have the car with me. It was on in Dun Laoghaire. It's on a Dart line. I'm like a 5-minute walk from a Dart, so it just made so much more sense to just jump on the train in and out, as I said, and then I had to get to work after. So kind of worked out well that we weren't kind of chasing piles and piles of games. So yeah, let's just get into the live look around and then we'll have a chat about everything that we picked up then after that. Anthony, how are you? You all right, yeah? Great, not a bother. That's for all today.
Streamer League TV, one is on the board. Fair Pokemon Gen 1.
Charizard. Are you planning on hanging out with them, or are you?
Charizard. Call from ladies foot row. Team Streamer Juice. Very personal name. Not sure which one.
This is the second one.
Next up, Streamer League TV. I'm going to need an answer right now. What do we think the answer is?
So just at James's booth, Rewind Retro Game, they gave me an amazing gift. I came across this Dizzy collection. There's only a couple of the tapes in there, but just the artwork itself just takes me back. I've talked about it before. Loved Commodore 64. Grew up on it as a kid. I used to spend hours on these Dizzy games. Used to sit there just watching the brothers playing it. Yeah, it's an egg with boxing gloves, going left, going right, and jumping over holes, and that's about it. But just something really, really nostalgic about it. So I don't know if we can open it one-handed yet. Just a couple of tapes in there. We'll have a look at it back in the game room. But yeah, really cool piece. Can't wait to find a spot on the game room shelf for this. Alright, so we've done a few laps and haven't seen too many SNES cards I want, but I am tempted by this Turtles in Time. It's €60. I only have about 100 with me, but I think that's a pretty good price. I think that would be a fairly solid pickup. So I don't know, we're trying to move away from buying bundles of stuff and kind of sticking to something a bit more quality. So I don't know, this might just be a purchase. We'll have to have a think about it. So just at Adam's booth here and actually spotted another cart-based game that we need for the collection. Super Mario Bros. 2 for 20. Again, pretty good price. Might just have to pull the trigger on this. We'll have a little look and see if there's anything else we can add in with it. Right, so it's a bit quieter now, so we're over at James's booth. We can have a proper route around here. See if we can find any old loose discs, manuals or bits that we need to add into the collection. So I'm just back at James' booth here and he's showed me a few of these Commodore 64 games. Like, some of the prices on these, the value on them are crazy. I would never even thought Commodore 64 games were really worth this much. I know some of the big box stuff and that is probably, you know, selling pretty well, but I mean, obviously R-Type, that's actually pretty class. You know, I'm not going to be picking any of them up today because we're not in the market of spending 30 odd quid on Commodore 64 games, but just thought it was cool to see. Maybe if you have a box of them at home in the attic, it might be worth taking them out and having a flick through them because some of them actually have a fair bit of value. Look at this, I'm literally just getting a bit of B-roll here. I can see it through the bubble wrap, this looks class. So yeah, those not familiar, this is Stephen the Retro Framer. I'm sure people can probably see it through here, but we went for a Vice City frame, so your work is absolutely amazing, man. I can't wait to get this home and get it opened up and find the spot for it on the wall. It's going to be... Yeah. Properly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you know what? Maybe I'll open up and have a quick... I'm kind of tempted. Should I or shouldn't I?
As long as you don't smash them way out.
Come on, let's open up and have a quick look at it. Look at this. It's absolutely class, man. That is so cool.
Happy you're happy.
It just captures the vibes of the game and everything perfectly. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean?
Because like this is the first one I ever made. So I made this as a gift for my friend for like Christmas last year, and he loved it so much that I was like, oh, there might be something to this. So this is the one that actually got me into it.
Oh really? Yeah. Oh, that's class. But then I definitely picked the right one, so we're kind of getting like the origin frame or whatever like that. But oh, this is really cool. I'm gonna have to actually take some stuff off the wall to get this displayed because that's all good.
Success, huh?
Exactly, it's all good. We'll find around. But yeah, listen, that's amazing, man. Thanks so much.
Well, awesome, dude.
Really cool. Thanks a lot for that, man.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Neil. So yeah, an amazing selection of stuff available as always. Hopefully you enjoyed the little look around. I tried to kind of get as much of a variety of stuff in there as I could. But let's just talk about the few bits that I picked up. Actually, before we do that, I know the angle probably looks a bit weird. We're kind of in the middle of changing things around in the game room here, changing the setup completely kind of in advance of the next video, which is going to be the start of like a series of videos that's going to run for a few months. So I kind of wanted to mix things up and change things up around here. So we'll get into it in the next video anyway. I know the lighting and stuff probably isn't great. We're still kind of getting used to, as I said, the new setup and new angles and stuff. But anyway, on to the gaming market stuff. Now I did show this, well I showed pretty much everything in the video anyway, but I just wanted to talk again very quickly about this Dizzy collection that was given to me by James from Rewind Retro Gaming. This is just absolutely class. There's literally only 2 tapes in there. Well actually some of these can be double-sided. We've got Bubble Dizzy and Magic Land Dizzy. Now I'm guessing, actually that's a double tape of the same game. But yeah, it's more just for the artwork. As I said, I haven't got the Commodore 64 out during COVID. I couldn't get it going. I really have to try it again and see. But again, it's just nostalgic stuff for me, especially the Dizzy games. I think I talked about it in the video, but like this is just core memories. Like, it's like, what age would it be when we were playing these? Like these were out in 1990, so we're talking, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10, something like that. I remember playing them for hours. I remember watching my brothers playing them for hours. It was just someone to just go on a run and they could be sitting there literally for an hour or two on the same sort of life. But yeah, if you know, you know. Otherwise, I'm not going to get into explaining it, or you're going to be like, why is he talking about an egg with boxing gloves that just moves left or right or whatever like that. But yeah, just really cool artwork on all these sort of big box Commodore 64 stuff. So that's going to display really well up there. Really nice addition to the Commodore 64 collection. So James, thanks again for that. Really, really appreciate it. On to this frame, actually. We'll talk about this very quickly and then we'll leave the games. Again, touched on it in the video. I'm not sure how good some of the audio and stuff like that was. I said it was kind of a bit rushed, and my wireless microphone receiver literally snapped off the camera. I don't know, I must have shoved it in my pocket or something like that coming in, or what I was doing, but I was kind of trying to hold on to that for dear life, so I'm not sure how good some of that came out. We'll find out in a minute when we go to edit all this down anyway. But this was an absolutely amazing piece. But this is from the Retro Framer. I'll put a link to his Instagrams and websites and stuff like that down below. Go and check it out, because something like this would make an amazing gift for someone for Christmas. And by the time I put this out, I wouldn't say you've got much time to get an order in, so definitely get straight on there and have a look. But yeah, I just won this in like an online competition. He put one of his frames up for grabs and I was the lucky winner. So I had a choice between 4. There was, I think, San Andreas, there was maybe a Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that. I can't remember what the other one was, but I had to go for Vice City. This is just core PS2 memories right here. The colours and all that sort of stuff goes with my logo, goes with like my light vibes in here. So only problem is trying to find somewhere to put it. We'll do, as I said, we have to rearrange. I might end up rearranging the entire game room here. I might move some shelves around, but the guitars and stuff have been up on the wall for years there. We might even take them down and maybe we'll get it up there to display it. But absolutely amazing piece to have. So make sure and go and check out his Instagram, check out some of his other work, because this fella is so talented, and anything like that would make an amazing addition, not just to any game room, but like imagine that in your sitting room. Now probably get shot by people's wives, husbands, So give it to the others for saying that. I make a joke about it, but if I tried to put that in the sitting room, I'd be absolutely murdered. So yeah, onto the game pickups now, as I might have touched on in the video or two, but as I will definitely get more into it in the next one. I'm trying to kind of refine the collection now. I'm kind of moving away from just keeping every copy of every game that I can and kind of moving stuff on to try and, I don't know, create a core collection that's really based around, you know, pure nostalgia, like the Commodore 64 stuff, SNES cards, stuff that I owned as a kid, stuff that I used to rent. I probably said this already in the intro. Do you know, my Zelda stuff, my Mario stuff, really kind of refine what we're collecting in the game room and kind of try and make a bit more space to bring in some like nice pieces and display them properly, because still stuff everywhere in here. Why did my lights just go off? Alright, so you probably got a bit of a jar and jump there. I never charged the bloody new light that I have again. Still trying to get used to all this stuff, so apologies for that. But sure, look, it wouldn't be me if there was some sort of like lighting mishap or audio or stuff falling on the ground. But anyway, I can't remember. I was shiting on about carts or whatever I was going to do with the thing. Let's just get on to what we picked up. So this was my first pickup. This was, I think I ended up spending €60 on this. Now that is a lot for me to spend on an individual game, especially when I'm not spending CX trade credit and stuff like that. But I think this was a really good price. It's a game that I wanted for a long time, and I wasn't really seeing much else in the way of SNES carts that I kind of have on my little, again, I'll talk about it in another episode. I'll draw up a full list of like everything that I'm looking for. It's kind of more of a browse around. There's 5 or 6 that I've been actively looking for a while, and after that it's just stuff that I might see where I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that from back in the day. So, but yeah, this is one of them. This is one we used to love playing in like the arcades and stuff like that. I'm a big Turtles fan, as you know, and I love collecting kind of quintessential Turtles stuff, and like I said, this was too good a price to turn down, so we picked up a copy of Turtles in Time. I actually haven't even taken this out of the little wrapper yet, so let's get that out of there. But yeah, really nice label on it. The usual stuff, you'll see kind of little scrapes and stuff indented into these SNES carts. It's rare you get one that's absolutely immaculate unless someone was leaving it sitting there not being played. But yeah, these games were made for being played, and that's perfectly fine with me. Yeah, we might even pop this in for half an hour later on and have a little shot of it. But yeah, delighted to add that to the collection. And then the only other game that I got after talking about wanting to pick up SNES carts and whatever like that, I ended up picking an NES cart up. But I grabbed a copy of Super Mario Bros. 2, and I picked up this from Adam's booth at Replay Games. This is, again, just like a sort of a core memory for me. I've said it a few times, I don't have an S here. I'm kind of waiting until I get like, I mean, I'm able to set it up with the telly that I have here. I can set it up on the telly behind me. I can do it anywhere, but like I've been kind of holding out to get like a sort of a small little old school CRT TV, and the idea was maybe getting an old Nintendo and hook up with that. I've mentioned before on the channel, I didn't actually have a Nintendo as a kid. Super Nintendo was like my first proper console. You know, Commodore 64, we probably had a Atari or something like that before that, but this was my first like console that was pretty much mine, even though the whole house played it, you know, but that's the way it was in my head. But yeah, the friend Charlie that we used to kind of, he had the NES, so when we were over in his house we'd play the NES stuff. When we were over here we played the SNES stuff, and the odd time we do like weekend console swaps and stuff like that. But I do have kind of like, again, this particular game which you've probably seen 20 times in the frame here. Yeah, this was released in like 85, so God only knows, again, could have been like late 80s, early 90s, probably more early 90s playing this, but just have memories of being over in his house and having the NES set up in his room. I remember being on the floor, and I just remember the graphic from being on here, and it was actually Mario with the fireballs. That's like the, I don't know, for some reason that's the memory that I get with this Super Mario 2 game. But yeah, I just couldn't resist picking it up. We have Mario 1, we have Mario 3, I think we got Mario Tetris or something like that, so we might as well keep going with the Mario team stuff. And again, it'll look good in the shrine over there. So for €20, good price on that one as well. Just couldn't say no. So yeah, that's it for the pickups from the gaming market. Probably a short and sweet one, this. As I mentioned earlier on, I only really got to get out of the house for a couple of hours because I had to get back for work. But yeah, I just had a great time there. Always great kind of chatting to all the vendors. The amount of people that watch the channel that stop me to say hello as well is always much appreciated. But yeah, I probably spent a bit too much time yapping away than I did kind of concentrating on like filming and talking. I'm sure there's plenty of B-roll anyway, so we'll try and put like a nicely kind of, as I said, if we're going to leave it short, we'll try and kind of cut a nice kind of video together for you. But so yeah, if it's not as long or there's not as much footage as usual, I'm sorry, it's just having too much of a good time walking around there. But yeah, look, no point in dragging the arse out of it. So yeah, we get this one wrapped up and we'll get it out there, and we'll move on to kind of, I suppose I'm calling it a renewed focus on the channel for the next few months. We've kind of got something to aim towards next February. We'll get into all that in the next video. We'll talk about what's going on here with new setups and stuff like that. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've seen me kind of do a few reels and a few kind of story posts about why we're sitting at this angle, why we've got a sort of a different setup. We'll get into all that a bit more, but for now, just thanks so much for watching as always. Thanks for all the liking, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.